This review is Castlevania 10, or, as it's known in Europe, Vampire's Kiss. Let's jump right into the controls. First, you'll notice that you can't shoot in 8 directions like the previous game. You can only hit left and right. This is very annoying considering the variety of the previous game. In addition to your movements, there's also this quick backflip, but I never really found it that useful. Every single sub-weapon from the previous game is here. There's the knife, the axe, as worthless as ever, the cross boomerang, oil flask, and time freeze. Though I was never able to get this to actually freeze any enemies. One good aspect about the items is you no longer accidentally overwrite a weapon that you didn't want. Now, whenever you collect a weapon, the previous one is discarded on the ground so that you can retrieve it in case you accidentally grabbed one you didn't want. In addition, there are now item crashes, which are super moves. Whenever you have enough hearts, you can use a special power of each of the items. Even if you have no items, you can still cause a fire special attack. Generally, when a sequel is made, it should improve the gameplay. I mean, all the enemies return, from the Axe Knight who hides behind a shield, the Bone Dragon, resurrecting red skeletons, and even bats and Medusa heads. If you're just going to copy and paste the game, at least bring over the superior directional whipping abilities. So you start out by outrunning a giant bull. Then you fight your first annoying boss, Cerebus, and believe me, there are a lot of annoying bosses in this game. Then in the next stage, prepare to die a lot by jumping fishmen and falling rocks. You will definitely die here a lot. Then you fight a giant bat, who's the easiest boss in the game. Then you cross level 3 and fall into a pit thinking you've just found a secret level. Then it's on to fight a cloaked sorcerer. And eventually a werewolf who moves like he's in a fighting game. Then you're going to fight 2 annoying types of enemies. Knights who can poke you with sticks. And they can do this when you're above or below platforms. As well as these giant knights who will just fling you across the screen. Then you'll fight a skull demon, and finally enter Dracula's keep. But this stage is really frustrating. You will basically get a piece of meat and go to full health thinking you're about to fight Dracula, but instead you'll fall off a cliff, have to go back across the screen, climb up again and get hit some more, and then refill your life again, and then try to jump across the cliff again. Luckily you can't die, but it takes forever to jump across this thing. Now, you can get 50 hearts and any of the weapons in the game, and you're going to need them, because Dracula is one of the hardest bosses in Super Nintendo game history. Apparently Dracula knew you were coming, so he decided to cut out all the floors. He doesn't need to worry because he can fly, but just one screw up and you're dead. This is the stupidest layout for a boss level I've ever seen. Not only can you fall by accident, but if you even get hit by a fireball and you're not holding the down key to latch onto the surface, you'll get knocked right off into death. Not only that, but in order to hit him, you actually have to jump in the air, off your safe platform, and hit him in the head. And then once you hit him, you realize you're going to have to do that about 25 more times. Eventually, after a few hours, you might freak out when you realize you killed him, but guess what? Now you have to fight him as a demon. His mere presence takes up a third of the screen, and he's always going to fly toward you, and you're going to have to jump through him and get hit to get around him, otherwise he's going to land right on you and kill you. And if you eventually survive his fireballs and his giant laser circle, you just might get to see the ending. And that's it, game over, right? Nope. If you go back to the 3rd level where you fell off the cliff and into the pit below, this is actually the secret area. In order to pass this, you have to jump over without falling the entire duration of the level. If you fail even once, you have to reset the game, type in a password, and start the level over. Yes, if you don't believe what I've said, rewind 10 seconds and listen again. This whole area is like the Battle of Dracula. You'll just jump across and then die, die, and die. Eventually, you might actually make it. You will find a key here that goes in your inventory. You have to resist the urge to get a useful weapon, because you then fight the boss and carry this key into the next level. Oh yeah, and when you fight the boss, you can't die. Otherwise, you lose the key, have to reset the game, and jump across the entire chasm again. There, you use a key to save someone. Well, it did mention these people were kidnapped in the intro, but there was nothing to tell you that they were somewhere in the level. So, no longer needing the key, you just discard it and continue. So you eventually go through all the same bosses in Dracula again, and you get an exclusive still art piece as your reward. Yep, that's it. The different ending you spend hours of frustration over is for a still image for the credits to roll over. Nice incentive. But wait, there's still a third ending. Instead of fighting the Minotaur, you use the key on this door. Then, in the next level, you have to find an easily discovered secret by attacking a waterfall to lower the water and enter this passage to save your girlfriend. You'll fight a water dragon, followed by Death, who replaces the Skull Demon. Eventually, if you play long enough, you might find this. Dracula can be taken down easily with the axe. You don't have to jump to endanger yourself, and it takes out 3 times as much energy as a regular attack. Well, now you can claim your third reward picture. Now I'm going to tell you the differences between the American and Japanese version, of which there is only one. You would think that turning the werewolf into a naked man would be censored, but this is in all versions. Here it is, Death in Japan. Now, Death in America. That's right, in America, your body always produces tons of sweat when you die. Overall, the only good thing about this game are the graphics and the music, but then that doesn't make you want to play the game over and over again. And now, here's a game called Plok. In this game, you actually throw your arms and legs at people. Well, here's the American version of the game. Here is the Japanese version. That's right, you're staring at a blank screen because Plok was never released in Japan. Then there's Supergirls and Ghosts. In the American version, apparently everyone in this medieval time setting buries people in Egyptian Ankh symbols. If you look at the Japanese version, it's just like Castlevania. They actually used crosses, which were removed in the American versions.